Hey guys, how are you? We are in this episode with Lupagus. We were expecting Matt Falk or One Bar, as you wanted to say. But well, we have an amazing friend of us. Lupagus, how are you?
I'm good. Great to see you guys again. Thanks for having me. Wish we were a little happier after what happened on Sunday, but it is what it is.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Uh, well, this is the main term that we have now here. So let's start with that. The Green Bay against Minnesota Vikings in Minneapolis, week one, we lost, and it was a complete mess. What do you have to say about that?
Well, I know we talked about this a little before we got started here. It didn't really go what we thought. I mean, the issues we were concerned about stopping the run, we actually did okay against the run. We were worried about the cornerback play, and that was pretty bad. But what surprised me, and I think surprised a lot of Vikings fans, was the lack of pass rush up front. You didn't hear Yannick Ngakwe's name called hardly at all. Odenigbo couldn't get home. We barely got any pressure on Aaron Rodgers. He had all day to scan the field. And the fact that I think that was a big trickle-down effect why the secondary struggled so bad, because Rodgers had all the time in the world to pick him apart. There was absolutely no pressure. And the fact we couldn't get off the field on third down skewed the time of possession. I mean, the Packers had some very, very lengthy drives, and the Vikings offense just never got the ball really until the second half, and the game was already out of reach.
yeah. I mean, the pressure on Aaron Rodgers was not there. That's a thing, and that's one of the main reasons we lost the game. There were some errors also in the coaching staff. I mean, it's the kind of stuff that Mike Zimmer is recognized the defense. So that's what our first impression. So yeah, I'm totally agree with you. The pressure we have to make more pressure on defense. That's for sure. So what are your takes on the offense? Because I mean, everyone went crazy with Cousins. Everyone blamed him. But I mean, we saw a lot of things that Cousins didn't do before. We really think that he make a really really good game. But what's your take on the offense?
Well, yeah, it's kind of weird because other than the first drive, I don't really know that we saw a true Vikings offense on Sunday, because in the second half, the Packers are kind of playing almost prevent and giving us stuff underneath. So it's really hard to say, really judge the Vikings offensive performance based on how the game went on Sunday. Obviously, the first drive was good. They, drove down the field. Cook got plenty of touches, ran hard. And what was, I think, the most encouraging thing was Adam Thielen. What we learned from this game is Kirk Cousins is going to look for Adam Thielen every single game, every time he's looking for a big play. I think he was double covered. He's still catching the football. So that was great to see. I would like to see Irv Smith incorporate a little bit more. I thought that was an element that was missing. Cousins looked like he had a little bit of rust, especially on the interception late in the first half. That was kind of an ugly throw. It was off target, a little behind the guy too. And the other thing, it's just, you look at the offensive line. I actually thought, I don't want to say they played good, but they weren't the reason we lost the game. Elfline, I think, allowed the most pressures with 5, but they played to about the level I was expecting. And I do not think they were any reason why we lost the game. But I don't know. I just feel after this, it's almost like an incomplete if you were going to grade this, because I don't really think we really saw, the Vikings offense. I don't think we got enough of a, pool to look at here and to judge from.
Yeah, it was a pretty decent performance for the line. But Daniel, you were going to say something?
We had a better offense than the last year. I saw him better. I saw them better. I saw better the line. Even they have only 7 pressures. The problem here is that Pat Elfline had 5. No, for me, it's worrying. But well, do you think it's necessary to change Pat Elfline to Drew Salmia?
I would have changed him last year. I don't know why we keep sticking with him. Here's the worry. You saw it last year with Pat Elfline on the left side. What happened? Riley Reeves' play all of a sudden declines a little bit. And then now you're seeing it on the right side. Brian O'Neill, he gave up that sack. I think these tackles feel like they have to overcompensate, maybe do half of Elfline's job because he's that bad. and it's bringing them down. So that's the worry. And if it keeps happening, I think you got to put Elflein on a very short leash. There's no way he's getting re-signed. Why not try Samia? Why not try Cleveland? Why not try Oli Udo? Anything is better than Pat Elflein. Even look at Dakota Dozier yesterday. The left side didn't let out, I don't think they let a single pressure. So, I mean, he's got to be on an extremely short leash. And I hope if it happens again in Indy, they got to get ready to yank this guy. They have to.
Yeah. Sure. I mean, changes are going to happen sooner or later. These changes are going to be crucial for the next game for Colts. And yeah, I mean, there's some expectation for Cleveland. Also, like they were like doubts. I mean, when is going to be a main player? When is going to be playing for the longer, right? So yeah. I don't know. Maybe we will be seeing Elflein less. We hope, because those mistakes can't happen any longer.
Yeah, I don't know what has to happen for him to get pulled. I mean, he really can't play much worse than he is. And then one thing we need to talk about. We're talking about this offense. Kirk Cousins was doing his best Lamar Jackson impersonation. Have you ever seen that guy run as much as he did on Sunday? I mean, he ran for he had like 30-something yards. You never see that.
Yeah, that's the other thing that I wanted to say. All right, we saw a new Kirk Cousins, and besides that, it's still criticized. People is like, oh, he made an interception. He didn't have a good game. Man, the guy run, the guy passed, the guy made everything to make the win. No, the defense was the problem here.
Cousins could have thrown for 500 yards and 6 touchdowns. We still would have lost because the defense couldn't stop anybody. So
yeah, I mean, everybody's so hard on Cousins that I don't know. Maybe I don't know what it is. I don't know what are the fans expect any more for Cousins, because we saw a really good performance for him. So I think the defense was the real problem here in this game.
Oh, you're absolutely right. I mean, it all starts from the lack of pass rush up front, and then the horrible cornerback play. I mean, Cam Dancer, he was a stud in the preseason, supposedly in camp. He had a rough game, a lot of learning curves. And then the one thing we should go back in before we even start nitpicking on these positions is just the horrible tackling early in the game. We saw Eric Wilson miss a wide open tackle. Cameron Dancer missed a bunch. Holton Hill missed a bunch. The tackling was atrocious, and then maybe that's just the rust of not having a preseason. They had to shake that off. It did get better as the game progressed, but I thought the tackling to start with was just horrible.
Well, before we start with the defense, I want to take some points to the offense.
Sure.
Let's talk about Dalvin Cook and Alexander Mattison, because we saw him fine. We saw them fine. I think that Dalvin Cook made a good game, the game that deserved his new contract.
Yeah, well, he had 50 yards rushing, 2 touchdowns. You can't, again, you would have liked to see him get more, but the way the game flow went, that just wasn't going to happen, especially in the second half when you got to throw the ball, most of the time. That's when Madison got a lot of his work. But, yeah, both the running backs I thought looked great, ran hard, made some extra yards with their cuts and their moves and just lowering their shoulder. So, yeah, I was very happy with the performance of the run game. And, again, the O-line, I thought, did well moving the Packers' big D-line. I mean, Garrett Bradbury, we got to give him credit. He was destroyed by Kenny Clark last year, and this year he did much better. I think his opening day grade from PFF was 0 last year, and he got like 77 this year. So maybe him hitting the weight room did help out, and he was able to anchor off. I mean, Kenny Clark was basically a non-factor, which was huge for the Vikings O-line.
Yeah, of course.
They allowed, and also it allowed to make those plays to Dalvin Cook and Alex Mattison. So the O-line, with all the mistakes that Elflein did, was a decent performance. So there are just little mistakes. Also, well, the main mistake was Elflein, but I mean, I think that it's not something to panic. So,
no, I don't think so. I mean, we never had the ball the first half, so and then you're playing catch up, so everything's a little bit different. But it was nice to see Justin Jefferson get involved in the second half there. He had one nice little nifty move, and he almost started a fight. So You got to like the spunk he's got anyway. It was pretty fun to see him all fired up and be in the middle of that fracas that we saw.
Yeah, it was really good to see Jefferson involved. Maybe we will see him more involved in the next weeks as the pass attack gets more perfected, for some words to say. But yeah, I mean, totally with you. Yeah.
Yep.
Now let's change to this part, and to me is the worst part. Let's talk about the defense and Mike Zimmer's decisions. Let's start with the cornerbacks. Oh my God, Mike Hughes is not a rookie. He knows what he has to do. All right. Cameron Dantzler made some mistakes. All right, he's a rookie. There's so many rookie mistakes that he made, but beside that, there were huge mistakes. Where Anthony Barr and Eric Wilson? I didn't saw him in the whole game. They were lost, really lost. Eric Kendricks did what he could do, because I saw him in the side of Eric Wilson. I saw him in the side of Anthony Barr, where they were, because I don't know. I don't understand what the hell happened with Anthony Barr and Eric Wilson. Eric Kendricks couldn't do anything.
Yeah, I mean, Kendricks was all over. He was making up for a lot of missed tackles, guys out of position. You seen him going sideline to sideline, going down the field making tackles, getting in the backfield making tackles. Yeah, Anthony Barr, we did see him coming through in a blitz a couple times, couldn't quite hit home. I think his stat line was actually fairly decent with about 6 or 7 tackles, but again, no big plays, which is you hate to see. And I think I was higher than anybody on Eric Wilson, and he really had a turd of a game. He had that missed tackle early, which was just bad. You don't see him doing that, and he just didn't have any impact plays, which he always seems to make at least some big play, whether it's in the passing game or knocking out a fumble or something. He just couldn't do that. Very frustrating. You go back and you mentioned the corners. Yeah, Cameron Dantzler is going to have some learning. He's going to have a learning curve. It's going to be ugly early. The more reps he gets, the better he'll get. But you mentioned Mike Hughes, and Holton Hill was even worse. I mean, he was primarily on Devontae Adams, and he was about 2 steps behind every single time. Just slow to read and react to what he was doing. I mean, it was like he finally realized Adams was cutting to the sideline, and by the time he got near him, I mean, he already caught the ball and was running out of bounds. So it was just, I don't know. If I'm Mike Zimmer and I know I have a young secondary, I'm not keeping any of these guys on a long leash. I mean, why would you? It doesn't have that much more experience than Jeff Gladney or Chris Boyd. If they're struggling, get them the hell off the field. Try somebody else and see if you have any better luck, because if you keep a young guy out there and he's struggling, he's only going to get more upset and keep making mistakes. It's not like they usually just flip a switch during the game. It gets in their head, especially going against Devontae Adams. I mean, you can imagine the stuff he was saying to him out there, and just, 150 yards, 14 catches. Hill knows he's not doing well, and for that to keep compiling during a game, it's only going to make him more and more upset, and it's going to make it worse. So I would, if I was Zimmer, the thing I would change is I'd maybe even just try Gladney out there ahead of Hill, or have Dantzler start opposite Hughes, and work in a new rotation, because Holton Hill was horrible, and you can't really sugarcoat it.
Yeah, also one of the things that surprised me the most is that I didn't see any double coverage on Devontae Adams. I mean, Zimmer knows what type of receiver is this kind of guy. So I don't know. This was like the most disappointing thing in the defense, like the decisions that make Mike Zimmer. I mean, as you said, if I know these guys are rookies, I mean, I have to do something with that kind of guys. So I mean, there was many mistakes for the corners, on the head coaches, on the other staff, right? So I hopefully we can correct them. Hopefully they correct them for the next game. So.
And then you look at mention his coaching decisions. Where were the adjustments at halftime? I mean, you think we can't get there with our DNs. Let's figure out a way to create pressure. I didn't see any double A gap blitzes, nothing like that. It was kind of the same old. So I don't know. And you saw this a little bit last year with Zimmer. It's like I don't know if he's stubborn or what's going on, but in-game adjustments have never really been a great strength of his, at least in my opinion. And I think we saw that on Sunday.
So I want to ask you. I don't know if this is a specific question, but you guys, got the best opinions in my perspective for this team for Minnesota. So as you see, Anthony Barr doesn't look good in the past season, and in this game didn't look good either, Anthony Barr. So how do you see this guy performance, and will you bring up Troy Dye to the team, or is it too soon to bring Dye in the team and replace him for Anthony Barr, or what's your take on the linebackers?
Yeah, I think it's too soon to start talking like that. I don't think it's the realm of possibility to think this might be Anthony Barr's last year in purple. They did extend him was it last year, which was kind of surprising. Anthony Barr is what Anthony Barr is. He's 80 tackles a year, maybe a couple sacks. Sometimes he makes some big plays, but that's what he gives you. That's what he does. Zimmer seems to love him for what he brings to his defense. I think he's the kind of guy he wants in there. And, as a fan, we're not seeing a lot of the big plays that we want to see out of Barr or out of that position in general. And I do think we have a guy in Troy Dye who has a bright future. But my worry, too, is Eric Wilson. If he has the type of season that I think he can have as a starter, I think he's going to play himself out of Minnesota, too. So either you decide you're going to keep Eric Wilson or you're going to keep Anthony Barr. But I don't think both are going to be back. I do think Troy Dye will end up being a starter. But I think this year it's going to be those three. We're going to ride with them unless there's an injury. So. And one thing I think people are expecting with what's his chops, Dom Capers joined the staff. He comes from a 3-4 defensive background. People might, I think a lot of people are thinking we're going to see a lot more blitzing from Anthony Barr, and we did, but maybe he's just not good at it because he couldn't get home. But I mean, the Packers O-line is pretty dang good, even though they did have 2 injuries on it, which was pretty disappointing that we couldn't get to Rodgers.
Yeah, of course.
And one thing we should factor in the lack of crowd. I do think played to the Packers' advantage. We saw Rodgers hard counting. What did we jump off sides 3 times? I gave him first downs in the opening 2 drives. Very frustrating, and I do think that neutralized everything. And really, I think it gave the Packers a huge advantage in this game.
Yeah, definitely.
We have a question about that from Hildardo Figueroa. He said that how was to cover this game last Sunday with no fans around, and I think that's a problem that you said, because I really felt that the Vikings didn't play as they used to play with the fans, so it was a mess.
Yeah, there was just that energy was lacking. You can almost feel it through the TV. It's palpable. The crowd gets into it. Rodgers can't hear. He's got to call timeout. All that was missing. So, the Vikings being at home, they have no momentum to build off, no momentum to feed off. It doesn't get them fired up. It almost, I think one of the players said it felt like playing a high school scrimmage. And, that's too bad. But I know they were pumping in some noise, and you saw it in some of the other games when they were pumping in the noise later in the day. But yeah, it's going to be weird. It's going to be awkward all year long, and unless they change something by mid-season when they start allowing some fans back in, it's just something that Vikings should get used to, not having that home field advantage.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, it's going to really affect if they don't do something. But hopefully, they can do something to change that. But yeah, definitely, it changed the whole perspective, the whole atmosphere, the whole game, and it really affected. Yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the errors were defensive. But let's talk about the next game. I mean, this game is for Gear. Let's wrap it up. Let's forget this game.
We have to. We got to move on.
So, what for you? What's the key points that the Vikings had to address to win to the Colts? Win this game.
They got to get to Phillip Rivers. We've actually done pretty well against him in the past. I know we put him on a bad game last year in Los Angeles. He will hang on to the football. So if they can get to him, there's chances to swat that ball away, create some turnovers. You can frustrate him, give him some different looks. Potentially he could throw some interceptions. But what worries me is the Colts O-line is very good. They got 2 nice tackles. They got that really good guard. So I don't think it's going to be any easier for the Vikings D-line to get to Rivers. And if he takes a page out of what Rodgers did, he's going to look to get the ball out quickly too and try to neutralize the pass rush. So you got another veteran quarterback going against young corners and a pass rush that couldn't get home last week. it's a little bit of a scary combination. Though I will say that Rivers is no Aaron Rodgers and T.Y. Hilton is no Devontae Adams, so that does favor the Vikings a little bit.
Well, we have, as you said, well, it's the Colt line. It's for me one of the best lines in the league. But we have the fact that two of their linemen are injured. So that's a point. Marlon Mack is going to lose the whole season. No,
Yep.
that's another fact. Xavier Rhodes is playing there.
That's good news for us.
Yeah, that's really good news, right? Probably he's going to cover Adam Thielen. Probably he's going to be Xavier Rhodes against Adam Thielen. That's going to be the match. I'm expecting that. But also Jacksonville, took the job done, make the job done. And that's what's really unexpected.
That's the one thing we can go into this game with, saying, "Hey, we lost the Packers, but you guys lost the Jaguars." So, I mean, we're feeling a little good about that, right?
Yeah. I mean, the Colts look back, lost losing that game. So I think the Vikings need to take advantage of that. So
absolutely. I think offensively, I think they have to ride Cook. They're going to ride Cook hard, both in the passing game and just feed Madison. Yeah. We wear out the Colts defense, and I would try my best to keep the struggling defense of ours off the field as much as possible. If you can have long drives, milk that clock. Try to keep. I don't know. I wouldn't mind seeing a 17-6 type of meat grinder game where we're just trying to run that clock out, and you want to protect the corners, the young corners, but at the same time, you also want them to be able to progress. So that's kind of a fine line, I think. But we do have to be aware of this young running back from the Colts, Jonathan Taylor. He's a powerful runner, and he's got good top end speed, sneaky speed. So he kind of worries me too. But we did a lot better this last week against Aaron Jones than I thought. So I'm actually feeling pretty good about our run defense. Where to me that was a major weakness going into the season, or a major question mark, I should say.
Yeah, we did. One of the things it's also, as you said, stop the run game from Indianapolis, and also one of the things that we need to mention is that there is going to be fans in the Lucas Oil Stadium. That's also one of the things that we need to take in consideration. I mean, it's I don't know how much it's going to affect the game, but it's certainly a point in favor to the Colts.
Oh, absolutely.
So I don't know, but I think the Vikings has a really good advantage to the Colts, but hopefully we win this game.
Yeah, and Lupagus mentioned something that it's really important to me, that it's the fact of Philip Rivers, that when he gets pressured. The problem here is that we don't, as we saw the last game, we don't have pressure a game. So that's really worried about that. I'm really worried about that. I don't know.
Yeah, and that's where you hope that the Vikings are mad. They're fired up. They want to change, show that, hey, we are a good defense. When's the last time we saw Mike Zimmer defense give up 43 points? It doesn't happen often. He's going to be pissed off about it. He's going to get his guys pissed off about it. And they're going to all, hopefully come in with a chip on their shoulder and prove that they're a lot better than they showed on last Sunday. They have to, because if it's another bad showing by this defense, I think it's just going to be a negative snowball effect and things are going to get ugly. But let's hope they turn this thing around.
Yeah, definitely. Mike Zimmer needs to correct the errors that he made and the staff errors that they made in the Packers game. So hopefully they make the right decisions this time, and the young corners make a great game. So yeah, these are going to be the key aspects that will lead the Vikings to the win in the week 2. But hopefully we could wrap this game up.
Well, yeah, let's hope so. You want to see Yannick Ngakoue step up, show why we gave up a second-round pick to get him. He's got to show up. Odenigbo has to show up. This is Odenigbo's opportunity. When Hunter comes back, he's going to get pushed back to the bench again. So he's got this game and next game, assuming Hunter comes back when he's supposed to prove himself. So let's see it. He talks about unsheathing the sword. Well, let's see the sword, and let's see it on Philip Rivers this Sunday.
Yeah, hopefully
Yeah,
we
of
see the
course.
sword from Odingo Boy because it's his opportunity. I mean, because once Hunter gets back, I mean, his opportunity is going to be a
Yeah,
little bit less.
back to
So
rotational guy. So
back to
he's got to make the
rotation.
most of this.
Yeah, exactly. So if anyone has to step up, it's Odenibo. So I mean,
Mm-hmm.
he has to. He has to.
Well, he's got to
Well,
step up, and I think Holton Hill is the next guy who's got to step up his game. He just can't be as bad as he was. So, and I think Dantzler. I mean, you already hear what I like what Dantzler's been saying. He's kind of kicking himself, and it's about little technique things. So he understands what Zimmer's teaching him, and he's going to apply it. So I'm not worried about him, and I do want to see more Jeff Gladney this week. I think I don't know why we waited so long to get him out there.
Yeah,
of
also
course.
we need to see more Jeff Gladney also. But hopefully they step up their game and they get better week after week. Hopefully.
Well, defensively, you can't get much worse. So there's only one way to really go, and it's forward, as from a defensive standpoint. And yeah, I want to see, offensively, like just more balance. Like like 4 quarters where you normally have the football. I just feel like we barely had that ball the first half, and
Yeah,
just
4
I really want.
minutes.
Yeah, I mean, it was horrible. So I want to see more of I guess a total offensive performance, a real one, so you can really judge and see where we're at. 'Cause I think right now after that first game, it's kind of hard to tell.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, we
Definitely.
are. I'm devastated from the game. From the game, I finished the game and I was like, oh my god, I can't with this.
Well, I think the thing was, it was so surprising. That the amount of points that were scored was at 77, 79 overall. I'm not surprised the Vikings lost, but I thought if they were going to lose, it would have been like a 21-24 kind of a game, back and forth till the end. Rodgers has the ball with a minute left. Not this lopsided thing that we saw that just kind of spun out of control. What was it, right before the half? Yeah, I mean, we knew the young corners were going to be an issue, but we didn't know it was going to be this bad of an issue.
Yeah,
Yeah.
of course. I saw the Voyage, the program that is making Vikings on YouTube, and Mike Zimmer said something interesting to me, that he didn't want to be a yo-yo team, and he looked like a yo-yo team, so I was really worried about it.
Yeah. Well, I'd rather be a yo-yo team than a no-no team that doesn't get any wins. So I'll take a yo-yo at this point. I hope we bounce back. You got to get something to build off of here, and I think a good showing in Indy will do it. And you got to remember, though, Indy's going to be embarrassed losing to Jacksonville, so they're going to come out fired up too. So it's not like they're going to – and it's so early, too, in the season. You don't know who's a good team yet, who's a bad team. And I think once a team knows they're a bad team, they kind of maybe start giving in a little bit. But at this point, no one really knows who they are. No one really has their identity. And I think it's even more prevalent this year where you don't have a preseason. I mean, teams are still finding their footing and figuring out who they are and how these new guys fit in. So it's going to be a period of adjustment in these probably the first 4 games. It's going to take us a while to figure out who we are this year.
Yeah, of course. We hope that this game against Colts can be a good game, because my heart couldn't stand it.
We'll probably just lose on a last-second field goal. That's what'll happen. It'll be fine.
Yeah,
Well,
for sure.
but we saw too some interesting things. Playoff teams lose 2. San Francisco lose.
Yep.
Philadelphia lose 2. Dallas lose 2. Indianapolis too. I think
Yeah.
that Indianapolis it's a contender for the division. No. But well, let's see what happened.
It goes to show you don't know yet. You don't know who's good, and they don't know who's good yet. So.
Yeah, I mean, let's see what happens in the next. It's a long way to the season, so everything does lost. So let's hope our Vikings get better and better next week. So
Yeah, absolutely.
Where our Vikings fans that they're watching right now, where can they see you, Lupagus? Where they can find you? Your podcast.
YouTube, OneBar Lupagus Show. Do it now. Subscribe, please.
Yeah, I mean, we encourage, because they are the best. They are the most popular podcast on YouTube, all the way from Minnesota.
Oh yeah,
go check them out. We're
damn near to Canada.
We're what?
We're almost to Canada. We're so far north.
Oh, okay. So there you have it, folks. Go subscribe and check it out. They have the best reviews, the best statistics for the best team in the NFL, the Minnesota Vikings. Anything else, Daniel?
No, go to watch him. Go to watch him. Him and Matt Folk. Go.
Yeah, we got 2-3 videos a day pumping out here, so we're lots of Vikings content. So you'll get your purple fix, that's for sure.
All right. So
right.
I want to thank you, Lupagus, for giving your perspective to the Mexican fans here in the Vikings Mexico. And anything you want to say, Lupagus? The last word to the Vikings Mexico?
Just always remember to keep your skull in your hole.
That's right. Then we are going to see you in the next episode, friends. We hope you like this episode. Go check OneBar Lupagus there on YouTube. Follow them on Twitter. Go check them out. And my name is Ruben. I'm with Daniel. He was Lupagus and Skull.
All right, Skull. Thanks for having me.